So this video is designed to show our users how to leverage the if component specifically in the context of a payload that comes back as XML. So as always, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new test. And Wi-Fi in here is a little tough. Great. So we'll call it XML if. We'll carry on through to the composer. And in order to demonstrate this functionality, I'm just going to use our demonstration endpoint, which has specifically an XML endpoint. So we're going to go to the aptly named SOAP endpoint. I'll hit send. I'll just expand this so we can take a look. So what we have here is an XML SOAP response. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a test based on this response. Now let's take a look at what we have here. So API Fortress has picked up on the contents of the SOAP document. And what I want to point out primarily is that API Fortress's XML parser is allowing us to leverage dot reference in the scope of this XML document. So we can reference nested parts of the XML document in the same way that we'd reference nested parts of a JSON document. So that's all I kind of wanted to point out. Now, if I want to introduce an if, let's take a look here and see what data we can actually predicate an if off of. So here, we have this price of 1.90. We're going to create an if statement that states that if price equals 1.90, then we are going to print something. We're just going to put a comment component in the if. So I'm going to add a component. I'm going to grab my if, and I'm just going to copy from right here. So we're going to say if payload.body.get price response, fat finger, price equals 1.90. Now, I want to point out a few things here. The XML parser treats everything as a string. That's one important thing to remember. Second, the XML parser, specifically in the scope of the if component, requires you to use a method to actually do your comparison. So I'm going to append on the text method. Without getting into too much technical detail of why this has to happen, I just think it's really important for us to point out that it does in fact have to happen. So anytime we're trying to, or at least for the moment, anytime we're trying to reference or compare a piece of XML data to a piece of plain text data in an if component, we need to use the text method. So this part here is actually referencing the entirety of that that XML line. So it's m price 190 m price. What we're looking for is to use the text method to pull out the bit in the middle, which is the 1.90. That's the actual value that we want to compare. So we have to use the text method to do so. And then we're just comparing that against the string representation of 1.90. I'm going to click confirm. And then just to see that our if is actually firing, let's throw a comment in there. And we'll just say it worked. And I'm going to drag this guy into the if. So let's run our test and see what happens. We'll hit run test. And there we go, right there at the bottom. It worked. So important takeaways from this video are that with XML documents, we can reference things with dot notation as usual. And with the if component specifically with regards to XML, we need to use the text method. So that's all for this video. As always, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to support@apifortress.com, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.